you guys are anything like me, I'm pretty sure you fondly remember the Realme 3 Pro, which was one of the best bang for your buck smartphones from earlier this year in the mid-range segment. This success is now followed up by the Realme 5 Pro from the new Realme 5 series. A few key upgrades have been made, from the cameras to the display to the performance. So let's see if Realme's follow-up can be just as potent as its predecessor. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that revamped design. The Realme 5 Pro has a plastic body and it looks sharp with a glossy back that has a cool geometric pattern. We have ours in the sparkling blue color, but there's also a crystal green variant if that better suits your fancy. Here at the back, we find some Realme branding, the protruding quad-rear camera module, and a fingerprint scanner. Up front is a 6.3-inch screen with a water drop notch that houses the selfie camera and speakerphone, while on top you'll find a noise-cancelling microphone. The bottom contains the loudspeaker, primary microphone, headphone jack, and a USB Type-C port, which is really nice to see since the Realme 3 Pro had a micro USB port. On the left side are the volume controls and SIM tray for 2 nano SIM cards, plus a dedicated micro SD card slot that's expandable up to 256GB, which is really nice. Meanwhile, you'll find the power button on the right side. All the buttons are pretty tactile and clicky, and are in a nice position on the frame, making it easy to reach even if you have smaller hands. Overall, the build is both fun looking and solid, especially as Realme explicitly claims it to be splash resistant, although there's no official IP rating. I'll be honest, it doesn't particularly look or feel premium. Instead, the vibe I get is that it's more fun and maybe for a younger crowd, which is supposedly Realme's target market after all. For display, this one gets a 6.3-inch IPS screen with a resolution of 2340 by 1080 and a pixel density of 409 ppi. It also has Gorilla Glass 3 Plus protection, on top of which is a pre-installed plastic screen protector, which is always nice to see. You'll notice that it's got very slim side and top bezels, plus a slightly thicker chin that's not a bother at all if you ask me. Meanwhile, the notch is now a little bit smaller compared to the Realme 3 series, but if you don't like it, unfortunately there's no option to hide the notch in the settings. But for display quality, we do get nice and vibrant colors. Brightness also isn't a problem when dealing with direct sunlight. You can also adjust the color temperature in the settings to what your eyes prefer. As for audio, sound from the single downward firing speaker is about the same as what you'd expect from a typical mid-range phone. It can get loud but still lacks some bass and depth. For audiophiles, the Realme 5 Pro has a real sense around feature in the settings for when you're plugging in headphones. It provides a slightly more hi-fi cinematic type of sound, which, yeah, it's not a dedicated DAC, but we'll take it as a substitute. The Realme 5 Pro runs on Android 9 Pie skinned with ColorOS 6, so it's pretty much familiar to you if you're a previous Oppo or Realme user. It's far from a stock Android experience, as it's highly customized by Realme/Oppo, although you do get an app drawer for all your apps, and it's customizable with a bunch of features that come in handy, such as app cloning, game space, digital well-being, kid space, hotspot management, and app encryption to secure specific apps. For security, you can unlock the phone via face unlock or with the rear-mounted fingerprint scanner that's pretty easy to reach. Generally, they both work pretty snappy, but of course the fingerprint scanner will be more reliable as the face unlock tends to struggle under low lighting conditions. Powering this device is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 712 chipset with an Adreno 616 GPU and either 4 or 8GB of RAM. Our unit has 8GB of RAM. It's only a slight boost from the Realme 3 Pro Snapdragon 710, but still, as expected, it can handle almost everything from light to heavier tasks. We didn't experience much lags or frame drops when playing games like PUBG Mobile, Mobile Legends, or Asphalt 9 at their highest graphics settings. However, expect the back panel to heat up a little bit while playing, but it doesn't get so hot that it's super uncomfortable. Take a look at the synthetic benchmark scores we got right here. Now, keeping this phone running is a 4035 mAh battery with support for 20W VOOC 3.0 flash charge. In our video loop test, we got a total of 20 hours and 30 minutes, which is not bad at all. So surely the Realme 5 Pro can get through a whole day or even more with only slightly heavy use, or up to a day and a half with only moderate usage. Charging, on the other hand, takes about an hour and a half to fully charge from 0 to 100. Not bad, but it definitely isn't super VOOC speed. Alright, let's talk about the cameras. The Realme 5 Pro has 4 rear cameras stacked vertically, consisting of a 48MP Sony IMX586 main sensor, 8MP ultra-wide, 2MP depth sensor, and a 2MP macro lens. So while chipset improvement is small, the cameras are a big leap from the Realme 3 Pro. Meanwhile, in the notch area resides its 16MP Sony IMX471 front camera. The camera app itself is pretty easy to navigate. it's packed with a lot of features, and as for quality, it actually doesn't disappoint. Photos taken from the primary camera under good lighting look superb with accurate colors and fine details. We do notice that it leans towards more warmer tones, but you can turn off the scene detection AI if you're not a fan of the look and you want something more natural. It's also pretty handy to have ultra-wide and macro lenses for a variety of shooting situations. When using the 48 megapixel mode, of course you get really crisp details, but noise is also reduced and colors appear more vivid. Meanwhile, night shots without having nightscape, aka night mode, turned on look okay as we still get kinda clear photos. However, it can look a little bit noisy and washed out, and some details can get a little blurry when you zoom in. Now, when we turn nightscape on, you really see a difference in the overall brightness and details. It doesn't mess up the photo at all, but you do have to stay steady for about 3 or 4 seconds to take the shot. As for portrait mode, we get a nice blur effect, and it separates the subject from the background pretty well. It works especially good with the rear camera since we do get a dedicated depth sensor, but portrait selfies are effective as well. More on selfies, they're not bad at all. There's no wide angle option here since it's only a single shooter, but photos come out with accurate colors, especially when it comes to skin tones. You can also take advantage of the beauty mode on board. For videos, you can shoot up to 4K at 60 FPS. You can play around with the main, ultra-wide, and macro lenses in one shot, as well as put on filters if you'd like. There's definitely some stabilization going on, but it's not perfect, so try to keep a steady hand. But yeah, overall, like I said earlier, the biggest improvement for the Realme 5 Pro compared to the Realme 3 Pro is probably the cameras. So to wrap this up, let's talk about pricing. The Realme 5 Pro only comes in one storage variant, 128GB, but there are 2 RAM variants. It's gonna be 11,990 pesos for the 4GB variant and 13,990 pesos for the 8GB of RAM variant. Pre-order details can be found in the description down below. And for that price, the main upgrade you're paying for from the Realme 3 Pro are the improved set of cameras and a revamped design that includes a Type-C port. Performance may not have improved that much and the software is still pretty much the same, but Realme still went strong with the successor of their previous mid-range series. So that wraps up our full review of the Realme 5 Pro. Let us know what you guys think about this device in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like, subscribe to our channel for more content, hit the bell icon to notify new future uploads, and be sure to visit YugaTech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. This has been Joey, and I'll see you guys in the next one.